Welcome, everyone. It is May 28th, 2025, 5 p.m. Work sessions are an opportunity for board members to discuss issues informally with staff and invited guests. The board encourages members of the public to attend work sessions and listen to the discussion, but there is generally no opportunity for public comment. Members of the public wishing to address the board are welcome to do so during the board's regularly scheduled meetings. Everybody has the rolling agenda in front of them. Any questions, comments on our agenda for this evening, or no? All right, Monica, you had.
Yes, thank you, Vice Chair Banks. We have with us tonight the Fair Board members. Some are here virtually, some are also here in person. And then we have the Fair Board applicants, because you all will be interviewing the applicants for the 2 positions to appoint to the Fair Board. There is a name listed on the applicant list, Suzanne Hendricks. She did withdraw her application. She has other commitments at this time. So you have 4 individuals who will be interviewing tonight. And so we'll go ahead and just go in order, and I will scoot out of the way. And so there are, like I mentioned, there are Fair Board members here as well. And so if you want to have any follow-up questions with them as well, you're welcome to do so. But the question for each applicant is on page 3 in your packet.
I need to run and grab my packet.
You're given questions. We typically have 3 questions. Well, we want to make sure we're asking the same questions of each applicant. And he left. I was going to say he could have my question.
Oh, let's see how much battery I have. Ooh, I'm good.
I don't think I.
They should be right.
I can't see them.
Okay. And so,
Thank you. Who is first up on the
Desiree.
list? Desiree? Come on up, and you can come as we await electronics and loading, and Commissioner Wakua, there he is. You beat me. I'm still loading.
Thank you.
Let's just go. And the questions are on. Welcome. Thank you for joining us this evening.
Thank you.
So you've had a moment to discuss the roles of our Fair Board members with Kyle, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Then we will just jump right into interview questions. Do you want to ask the first question?
Yeah. So can you tell us why you're interested in serving on the Fair Board, and what contributions do you believe you can bring to the fairgrounds?
So I have been in the area for going on 8 years, so kind of new compared to a lot of people. And I jumped headfirst into feet first into community events and activities and programs. And so I've been fortunate to be able to attend events at the fairgrounds. I've been contacted in the past by previous board members about collaborating with events at my previous employer, and we did that, and that was a great fun. And I, for the last several years, rent the exhibit hall to host a rather large winter bazaar that has grown so much. Like, we have 65 vendors and 50 people on the waiting list. And every single one of those vendors have asked for more opportunities and more time and more days. And so the need is there. We just lack space and facilities in the area to be able to provide more community events. And so I'd love to watch the calendar expand and grow, especially with some of the creative events that have been put in there. And so I think with my experience of volunteering and working, I could help that.
You are almost a local with eight.
Yeah.
I believe that I am, 100%. I've always wanted to live here. I made it happen. Here I am.
There you go. Good, good. So what is your understanding of the role and responsibilities of the Fair Board, including any ethical considerations or potential financial conflict of interest?
Well, as I understand it, it's to help the fairground run under the policies and protocols set forth by the board itself, commission, and the Oregon statute law.
Mhm. And would there potentially be any ethical considerations that you may have or any potential conflicts of interest?
No, not for me.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us tonight and for applying.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. The third question, how do you see the fair and fairgrounds contributing to both economic development, such as supporting local businesses, creating jobs, promoting tourism, as well as to community life as a space for celebrating culture and building social connections? So money and community.
Like I stated before, I've watched over the last few years, more events be added to the calendar, more creative type events, more different variety of events, which has been really nice to watch and be a part of. I think there's only room for more. And, like, for example, with the events that I personally host, people want more. They want more makers and they're local artisans that bring their stuff in. We have people who come from all over the state. I've personally been contacted by people from Bend who are asking about other events in the area for the same weekend because they want to come, but they want to do more as well. And like I say, the vendors want more. They want more opportunity to do things. And that just brings more people into the area. It brings in more money to the area. It brings more, I want to say, like, knowledge other than just what everyone thinks about when they think of Astoria, which is like, you know, the big stuff that's coming up in the next couple of weeks, the Goonies and all the stuff that everyone associates with Astoria, but let's make it focus more on the artistry and the community and the agricultural part of it. All of that is important to the region, and to bring it all into one space that people are familiar with and comfortable with would be just better, just more.
So you have a vision and experience.
I would like to think that I do.
Thank you so much. And can I ask how to pronounce your last name?
Danakis.
Sinakis.
Mhm.
Thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Thank you. You absolutely can.
Is Danakis a Greek name?
It is. I'm married into it.
All right.
Yep.
Thought I recognized.
Gladly. I gladly married into it.
Oh, yes. I hope you're a good book now.
Of course.
Of course.
Thank you.
Married,
Thank you.
wouldn't have last.
So I apologize, Monica. I am a visual person. What applicant pulled their application again? What applicant pulled their application?
Suzanne, the very last.
Okay, the very last. Thank you. Perfect. Catherine Lucan is,
My middle name is Chinnery, which is what I go by. Hi,
Chinnery.
I'm Chinnery Luckett.
Oh.
How are you all? When I
Nice
sit
to
here, I
meet
don't know
you.
if I'll get up, but, that's so funny. Go ahead, please.
Oh, goodness. So you've had a chance to,
We have had many chances.
oh,
Yeah,
wonderful.
we've talked a lot in the past year, actually. I've only been here.
Oh.
Very,
Well, welcome.
thank you.
We love our new friends. So Commissioner Webb, do you want to start with the first question?
Might be happy to. Excuse me. Thank you. I've got it right in front of me. Well, welcome. Thank you. Welcome in many ways.
Thank you.
What brought you here?
Okay, fun. I'm trying to be brief, but Tryla Bumstead, who owns the company I work for, she owns a HANA Media Group, and I was working in that industry. She and I knew each other in Seattle. And she hired me to come and run this market for the digital acquisitions because we have a huge digital stable. And I've been in radio, TV sales, digital management for Salem Media Group, iHeart, Citadel my whole career, and I wanted to end my career, which is another couple of years in a smaller market. And drove down for a market visit and said, yeah, I could do this. This is, I mean, it's everything that Seattle had, but only easier to appreciate and enjoy with water and, you know, and wildlife and everything. So, but I have to say the elk in my yard was a big adjustment.
Well, get used to it.
I'm not crying my eyes because I put them, but it was very.
I cried over my rose bushes, it's fine.
Oh, so yeah, so that's how I got to help this market grow.
Cool.
Yeah.
So why are you interested in being on the fair board?
Well, I've been on several boards in my lifetime. The best was the Army Advisory Board in Southern California when I lived there and worked for iHeart, but and the Dr. Laura program. But mostly I have a lot to give. I've got I'm a networker. I like things to happen. I like to make people happy, and I love this guy and I want to see him succeed. Our young professionals need to win, and it's just something that I'm just kind of passionate about, and I think that there's ways to grow, and I have the expertise to do it, and I'm still active. So let's, I've got time, just me and my dog, so I'd love to do it.
Wonderful, wonderful.
I thought you were saying you love me.
I do. Well, no, I'm not as much as him, but you.
Okay.
Commissioner Watson.
Thank you for calling. So question 2, what is your understanding of the role and responsibilities of the Fair Board, including any ethical considerations or potential financial conflicts or interests?
Okay, so no ethical financial conflicts or conflicts of interest, but I feel like it'd be kind of presumptuous for me to say what I really understand about the board. I think that as a task-oriented person, I would try and make sure that the tasks at hand were accomplished in the way they were supposed to be accomplished, and respect the protocol and, and the credibility of the board. I don't know really how it's answered because I've never been on a fair board before, so I wouldn't know.
Excellent.
Fair.
Okay.
Good answer.
I love your honesty.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
So how do you see the fair and the fairgrounds contributing to the economic development of our community? Such as local businesses and creating jobs, promoting tourism, as well as to like the community and, celebrating our culture and our social community and connections.
So this isn't my wheelhouse. So I feel like that's two different things. Locally, what does and you talk about the grounds, there's so much space. Why are we not utilizing all the space? And Colin and I talked about sponsorships. If it's as simple as selling signs and logos, I can do that. But is there an opportunity for first finding out what the need is, who wants to go where, who wants to be where, but young professionals have a problem here. People coming into the market. One thing I learned is it's really hard to live here. There's no place to live. Rent is difficult. We have young professionals that come in and go out. Why? So can we offer them something there? Jobs maybe, but forums or relationships or meet and greets or whatever that might be. So just as far as other things that the fair can do as far as the grounds, I mentioned to Kyle, why don't we have weddings out there? Is that silly? I don't know. Is it?
Me too.
Okay,
I
we
know.
need more weddings. More people need to get married. So, but what I'm saying isn't anything you haven't thought of. But as far as bringing tourism in, that wheelhouse is very strong for me because that's all done with marketing that I know how to do. Digital. I can buy any radio station in the across the United States or any TV station. So that's really my wheelhouse of making sure the money is well spent. The cost per points are right. All the things that I know how to look at. So you're not getting ripped off and spending $50 a commercial when you should be spending 10. So, but bringing in people is reaching out to people to bring them in. Like, this is why you want to come. And that's all done with outreach marketing and oftentimes a list that you just call, just networking.
Excellent. Do you have anything else that you wish to share or?
Well, I could stay here all day.
I appreciate, thank you for coming in and
No,
thank you.
my
for
pleasure. Yeah,
applying
I just,
and
we all need to win. So we should all go home happy.
I love it. Thank you so much. Stephanie Pedraza. Come on down. Welcome. Thank you for coming. And I just want to say, your girl.
She's good.
Good.
She has specific presentations tonight.
Well, we'll get you out of here as
Yeah.
fast as possible. All right. Commissioner Thompson.
Well, I'm just back to the Pacifica.
Mhm.
That's such an astonishingly wonderful community event at Seaside High School. Kids come in and say what they're about. It's the future coming into reality. Okay, unsolicited testimony. Why are you interested? Thank you for being here. Why are you interested in serving on the Fair Board? What contributions do you believe you can make?
I'm interested in serving because I believe the fairgrounds is a business and the fair is a business. And I would like to see attendance back up. I'm glad that the levy passed. I'm hoping to see more use out of the fairgrounds, more party rentals, more events out there besides, you know, the few that we have, Scandinavian Festival. Yeah, I just feel like I could contribute to events.
Thank you. Commissioner Webb?
What have you learned about what the responsibilities, are, serving on the board?
I've learned that it's planning the fair and planning, doing budgets. Adding more events and making decisions. And I have no conflicts of interest that I know of, and if I did, I would let you know as far as ethical. I'm a 20-year-old or 20-year 4-H leader. So that's what I bring to the table as far as helping with planning everything, and I'm not on the auction committee. Not that that's a bad thing, I'm just saying.
No.
So that would be a conflict to me as far as that goes. But, so I feel like I'm an advocate for the kids, and also my husband is Hispanic, so I feel like I bring to the table, a voice in the Hispanic community for all your rentals that you do for, quinceañeras and weddings and stuff.
Excellent. Mr. Waku?
As far as question 3 goes, how do you see the fair and the fairgrounds contributing to both economic development, such as supporting local businesses, creating jobs, and promoting tourism, as well as to the community life as a space for celebrating culture, and building social connections? And that's a big question. I can break it down.
Well, I mean, I think I touched on that already. More rentals for quinceañeras and parties. More celebrations out there, more craft fairs, like the other gal said. And also, I mean, I work in the tourist industry, so I've worked at Moe's Restaurants for over 20 years, so that's where I make my money, is in tourism, and that's how we've raised our family on tourism dollars, so I definitely agree. Anything tourist related is great. How you would add it into the fairgrounds, I don't know. I know for years we tried to do like a beach theme on the fair to get more people there, and that doesn't usually work, so I don't really have any ideas on that, but I would definitely love to be on the board and talk about it.
I appreciate it.
Anything else that you'd like to share with us before we let you go to your Pacifica?
No, that's it.
Okay. Well, if you get a chance to see your girl, wish her luck for me.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Next, individual Abigail Goodman is. Come on down. Oh, I just went Price of Right. Sorry. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I will go ahead and start with our first question. Why are you interested in serving on the Fair Board, and what contributions do you believe you can bring to the fairgrounds?
Yeah, so I'm interested in serving on the Fair Board because I've lived in Astoria my whole life. Yeah. And I've grown up attending events at the fairgrounds, and I've seen firsthand how beneficial the fairgrounds is to our community. And I would like to serve alongside the other board members just to help the fairgrounds continue to grow and thrive for future generations. And I think I'd be beneficial to the fair board because I have good problem solving skills. I work well in group settings. And as we all know, we live in a very diverse community and everyone has a different opinion about the direction of the fairgrounds. And I just think I could have an ability to mesh everyone's ideas together. So it's a better outcome for everyone and hopefully you can't make everyone happy, but hopefully try your best to.
You're right. You can't make everyone happy, but I love it.
I'm waiting till she runs for the county board of commissioners. Thank you for coming tonight. What's your understanding of the role and responsibilities of the fair board, including any ethical considerations or potential conflicts of interest?
Yeah, so starting off, I don't see any potential conflicts of interest. For the roles and responsibilities of the fair board, there's a lot that goes to being in the fair board. You're required to go to your monthly meetings, and then on top of that, if you have to have workshops for regular session, for special session, the fair board oversees the fairgrounds as a whole, and then their biggest thing is they put on fair. They make decisions about like maintenance for the fairgrounds. I know this year they have made the decision to put a new roof on a portion of the building because the building leaks. They create the strategic plan, they approve the fairgrounds budget, they make decisions about events, so like rentals, and if the organization wants their fees reduced or removed, they go before the fair board and the fair board decides that. And they just work together to create ideas for additional sources of revenue. And then when the fairgrounds host a specific event, like the rodeo they did last year themselves, I know the fair board helps with that. And then the biggest thing the fair board's in charge of is fair. And so everything outside of 4-H and FFA with fair, they do themselves. They do the marketing, the advertising, they find all the vendors, they do the concert. And then like this year, they decided to bring the carnival back for next year in the next couple of years. So just everything with fair, they do themselves, and then they help after all week wherever they're needed.
Great answer.
Thorough.
Yeah.
Thorough.
Excellent.
Commissioner Webb?
Yeah. Are you a working person?
I work at home, and I do permitting. My family has a project management company.
Oh.
So I do all the permitting for.
Oh, good job. Good job. That's right down my alley. So you dabble in business a bit. So what kind of a force for economic development do you think that the fairgrounds all year long? How do you think, we're very much a tourism economy focused on the beach, et cetera.
Yeah.
But how do you think it could be more of an economic driver in a community?
Yeah, so I mean, the fairgrounds is an excellent place for local businesses to promote themselves, like in the arena. There's spots where businesses can promote themselves year round by buying sign space. And then when there's events hosted at the fairgrounds, businesses that do sponsorships, they are able to have signs like at the concert. If you've been in the concert, you'll see the big banners for all the businesses that did the sponsorships. And then when other events are held at the fairgrounds, like the winter bazaar and stuff like that, you have local people come in that are able to sell goods and promote themselves. And then, I mean, the fairgrounds attracts people from all over for different events. And then not just from here, but when we bring in tourists, as we know, our community like is on the revenue of tourism. And so when there's events at the fairgrounds, you're bringing in tourists, which then helps our community because when they're here, they shop locally, they eat locally. So even the businesses that aren't at the fairgrounds for an event are seeing the benefits of the fairgrounds events. And then also when the fairgrounds the fairgrounds for fair, when they bring in additional staff to help with fair, that's also creating more jobs and helps our community. And then just overall, the fairgrounds is a gathering place for locals and tourists that come here. And so there's a variety of events for all different people throughout the year. And so it just brings everyone together. And then the two biggest events for the fairgrounds would be outside the fair would be Crowd Fest and Scan Fest. And those are just two events that celebrate our community's culture.
Is there anything that you wish to share with us other than,
Do you have any other questions for me?
you don't? Thank you so much for your application and for coming to visit with us.
Thank you.
All right. So I have a question. When I couldn't read the fine print without my glasses, but when are we looking to?
This comes before your board, I believe on June 11th. Yes, and so, I know that there are some fair board members who are really present. They have a role personally, and so I think that they're going to be, following. To be able to provide them their input, and then the fair board will share that with. We'll share the fair board information with the board, and then the board will make that decision on the June 11th.
Any discussion, further discussion?
No bad answers to the question, who could be appointed.
Good
to the board.
candidates. I
Yeah.
think in my 8 years.
Wonderful.
It's terrific. It's a terrific to have so many
And are we,
enthusiastic, experienced, a wide variety.
Just a spectrum, yeah.
Nice.
well,
It's
a lot
nice.
to offer.
Yep,
Everyone has a lot. to
Absolutely.
offer.
Yes, and you will be appointing two.
Two, okay. Yes, I would love for the fair board to come back with recommendations. Or. Sorry, wait for the siren to pass.
Need more open positions.
But yeah, no, I would love, for the fair board to come back with, because it's gonna be a large body working together, and I would love their input before we make a decision.
They meet on Tuesday, and so they'll have that conversation and now do your work.
Perfect, thank you. Any further discussion?
I'm just
Okay.
grateful for the wealth of experience and skills, interest. It's wonderful.
I'm excited that so many people were interested.
Appointments to Recreational Lands Planning and Advisory Committee. I was like,
No, I think he's, or he's online.
and I don't know who is presenting because I don't have that written down.
Corey is participating
see now.
virtually. He is our parks manager. And so he will be presenting the information regarding the 3 applicants for the Reclands Committee.
that's where we went.
Hello, Commissioners. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
My name is Corey Johnson. I'm the Park Supervisor for Clatsop County Parks Department. We have an opening, an open position on the Recreational Lands Planning and Advisory Committee. Recently, Brad Catton, he's the current District Operations Coordinator for ODF. He was serving for Commissioner District 3 on our board. And just as a reminder, our Recreational Lands Planning and Advisory Committee is a group of volunteers that are appointed by the board, excuse me, to help develop long-range plans for county parks and changes to county's comprehensive land use plan related to recreational lands. I had an opportunity to speak on the phone to all 3 applicants that we received. We received an application from Matthew Grantham. He's in Commissioner District 1. Frank Snyder, who's in Commissioner District 2, and Hayden Llewellyn from District 3. Kind of similarly to what you folks just did, I asked them just the same questions, a series of questions, if they were familiar with county parks, if they had served on an advisory committee before, and just also tell me a little bit about their interest in county parks. Matthew Grantham, he, like Brad, he works for ODF. He is a parks professional or a outdoor recreation professional. He has a bachelor's degree in parks and recreation management, and he has extensive experience working for a variety of different agencies, working in outdoor recreation. He's been living in the county for 7 years now, and he does have a familiarity with the county parks, particularly with Clutchie, and he's led advisory meetings in his own agency. And the reason that he's interested in pursuing this position is that he's looking for opportunities to increase his involvement in the community. Frank Snyder has lived in the county for 68 years. He lives in the vicinity of Cullowhee Lake, so he's very familiar with that park. He served for a number of years on the American Legion, on their board, and he's a regular user of Cullowhee Lake and Sunset Lake and has a vested interest in the operations at those parks. Lastly, Hayden Llewellyn from District 3. He moved to the county recently as well. I believe it was 6 years ago. He's had a long time interest in outdoor recreation. He has extensive experience serving on advisory boards. He was worked on the board of an environmental nonprofit, and he stated that he was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis 12 years ago, and he would bring sort of a different perspective, particularly in regards to ADA issues, to the Recommends Committee. So I guess, so one thing to keep in mind is that whenever possible, we try to provide member representation from each of the county's 5 districts. To that end, probably Hayden Llewellyn would be the best candidate. However, I would urge you folks to also seriously consider Matthew Grantham, just due to the wide variety of his experience and the depth of his experience in the parks field. Do you folks have any questions for me?
I do.
Commissioner Thompson.
Thank you, Chair. Mr. Johnson, I appreciate your briefing of us. I like your shirt as well, just saying. Commissioner Webb has often voiced her fervent wish that we were able to do more long-term planning in terms of parks and recreation. If I heard you correctly, I'm thinking that Mr. Grantham may have a stronger background if the committee wanted to take some activities toward that end of doing some longer term planning. Is that a reasonable supposition on my part?
I can't speak directly on his experience with long-term planning, but he certainly has on-the-ground experience through multiple different agencies. Excuse me. He's worked for BLM, Forest Service, Alaska State Parks, and now Oregon Department of Forestry. So he's seen, from the ground view, a lot of different agencies, and I think that would be a useful perspective when we're considering and shaping our own future of our agency. So I couldn't, I don't want to put words in Mr. Grantham's mouth, but I feel like he'd be well positioned to help us move forward with long-term planning.
Thank you.
Commissioner Webb.
Wasn't there also, Corey, an applicant from the city of Astoria? Did he drop out?
That was for a prior open position that was filled by Mike Hinton. He was interested in the position, and then I later called and contacted him, and he was no longer available. So that was for a prior open seat. That wasn't for this open seat.
So that was, okay, thank you. Thank you, Corey. I've been with this committee for 6 or 8 years, and I didn't really think there was a Corey Johnson because I heard his name all the time. And Steve would always say, well, Corey will take care of that. Corey will take care of this. And there he is. Terrific. Thank you, Corey. Thank you very much. Thanks for the plug for the comp plan adjustment. That you're going to get points for that. I'm bringing you coffee to tomorrow. So we have a meeting tomorrow. This, once again, it's an embarrassment of riches. Great candidates, terrific. I can say that one of the things, Brad, I'm sad to be losing Brad because he was a wonderful member of the committee, and it really helps to have somebody from ODF. because they tend to be familiar with the landscape writ very large. And so they really have a lot of input. And somebody who's a pro at the recreation side, I think, that's pretty exciting, I think. We do have a present member of the committee, who is in a wheelchair, who's been a member, John Sayer, who's been a member of the committee for a very long time. And he's a wonderful advocate for ADA issues, which are really coming to the forefront in recreation right now. We're getting ready to build a playground at our new Westport and our boating park. And he's always advocating for, let's make sure that people of all sizes and capabilities, and he's very expert. So I'm not it would be great to have another person who cares about that, but we know that in Parks of the Future, this has to be something that we pay very close attention to.
Any other discussion, questions? I will say Brad is gonna be hard to replace. I've worked with him in other venues and he is an excellent human and very knowledgeable. And I do agree, it is good to have a connection with the Department of Forestry, especially with just in regards to, I mean, it's a common topic of conversation. They have parks. Sounds like this other individual is well-versed in recreation
And he
and
knows our landscape so well.
yeah.
The other thing is that Brad has been chair of the committee for the last couple of years.
Hard to
And
replace.
he's really done a very, very good job. I've already told him that we're not gonna be replacing. We're gonna be,
They are very big shoes to fill.
we're gonna, take him out to lunch every couple of months.
Any other,
Now that we know who Cory is.
hearing none? Thank you so much for joining us, Corey. It's nice to put a face to a name. And we appreciate all of your work for us, and county parks, so.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right, looks rolling agenda review. I'm sorry, I apologize. I dusted that up into our formal agenda review. Has everyone had a moment to look at the rolling agenda?
Yes,
Okay,
I have a question.
yes.
Is our person from the workforce board, he has been rescheduled, right? Right.
15.
At the end of okay.
I need my glasses. And Monica, did you have anything?
For the rolling agenda
For-
or the legislative update or,
Well, we're not,
oh, okay.
we'll get to legislative updates.
I did not have anything to add to the rolling agenda. No,
Okay,
thank you.
anybody? All right, let's move to the legislative update, because I'm actually really curious about what's going on.
And I'm gonna have Amanda come on up. Obviously, since I am here and Dawn is not, Dawn is down in Salem. Orla requested to have another, as well as the chair Nathanson, requested to have a follow-up meeting, and so that is where he is at today.
I feel like that's good news. I'm just gonna, I'm hoping it's good news.
So Amanda is here to give you an update as well as answer any other potential questions that you might have. We did receive good news today in regards to recreational immunity, so I don't know if you want to come up with that.
Please share.
Yeah, thank you for having me. The recreational immunity bill did pass, and so that's been signed by the governor now.
Oh.
So is that just a Band-Aid or is that a long-term fix?
It, from what I understand, it, makes permanent and temporary, fix, yes. Does anybody have any questions about that?
Can I just make a comment? I thought that it was really cool in Don's last Friday report for him to give us an interactive click on different bills. I know that's usually your gig, and I bet you did it. but
You made him look.
it looked really familiar, but it was very cool. It was really cool to have it be all right there, and it was terrific. I spent way too much time cooking. But it was really informative, and it's a great, so thank you for all your,
Yeah.
and can I just add to that? I threw a curveball at Amanda earlier. Was that earlier this week, late last week?
Mhm.
I got a panicked call from Melissa Paget at Job Corps. And I just can't imagine that anybody in any administration would do away with Job Corps, and it just, so we, as of today, we've heard back from all of our federal staffers with the right people in their offices too. That made me happy that the right people responded. So we're on it. And I don't know, I have been surprised that the newspaper, or I haven't, KMUN, nobody has mentioned this. And I'm surprised because, you know, they're a major employer. They're the only maritime program in the United States in a Job Corps. We push that really, really hard. They employ a lot of people who live here locally, and they take a lot of our young people. So everybody go home and write a letter. I think we don't have to worry about our delegation with this one. They're in it. This is education and training are big things with all three of them, so.
Yeah, and I forwarded the response that we got from Aspen, Congresswoman Bonamici's staffer, just expressing that they're engaged on this issue and will let us know next steps as things develop. And so I passed that along to Melissa at 10 Point Job Corps to kind of loop her in, and our CFM federal team was on that email, so they're looped in as well.
Thank you. She's very appreciative. So we're on it.
I don't have any additional stuff with the TLT, other than that conversations are ongoing, and we'll let you know. Hopefully there'll be a work session and an amendment to the bill that we've been advocating for, but we'll see how that goes. And then the only other bill, I believe all of you are aware, but the HOA bill did not meet the second chamber deadline, so that bill did die. However, the chief sponsor, Representative Javity, continued to express interest in the bill and continuing to work on it for the next session. So that's good that conversations are ongoing, and that there's still a chance. It hasn't officially died. Other than that, I didn't have any other updates. Did anybody have any questions for me?
I just had a thought, because I fell down a rabbit hole of HOA. And it appears that there's no way to dissolve an HOA. And I'm just wondering if in the future, when it comes to this conversation, maybe next year for the short session or the next long session, is like, that just seems almost ludicrous to me that if an HOA is struggling, that there's no way to dissolve it and then reopen something else, an entity that can handle the burden. Or
you can do that. You can do that. So I hope that this bill doesn't negate that, because you have to be, but the issue in Oregon is that an HOA is intrinsic to the ownership of the property.
right, and yeah, exactly.
And so it's part of what the person is buying when they buy a property. And so I've seen several of them in the valley have to be reconstituted,
Okay,
either from people.
so
dying or-
reconstituted is the word that I should use then when I'm trying to,
Yeah.
because I was just looking at, I mean, it's just a sad, difficult situation for this particular. I mean, when I think about those, 100 maybe landowners out there, I don't know. It's just a difficult situation. And so I was just trying to, when I'd heard that this HOA, bill, and and the directions that it was going, I was like, there's gotta be a way to help these people, these individuals. So anyhow, I'm just in rabbit holes.
I
That's
believe
all.
it's 250 something like that.
It's not a lot, and it's a very heavy burden for such a small group of people. So anyhow. Thank you. Fire funding. Have we heard about the fire funding bill?
It's that. Are you talking about SB 83 having to, I think that has to do with the mapping, actually.
That one's, yeah, that's the map.
Yeah, if I'm remembering correctly, most all funding bills are kind of stuck in Ways and Means right now.
Okay.
And so,
Time of year.
yeah, so the update that you had mentioned, that kind of listed the bills that, are on our high priority kind of watch list. It's hard because some of that is deceiving, especially when you see that big list of Ways and Means, because it's not clear whether that means something can move forward or not, because the funding that will be available, is very limited. But I know that funding for fire suppression and efforts is a priority that the governor has talked about, so I imagine, something will evolve with that.
All right, any other questions?
I will ask, if we could move into executive session, to talk, about a matter that Heidi and, Heather will also, participate in. So I'll just ask if everybody else could please step outside of the room, so we can quickly brief you on a matter.
The Board of Commissioners, as the governing body of Clatsop County, all county service districts for which this body so acts, and as the Clatsop County Local Contract Review Board is now meeting in regular session. We will begin with the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Moving on to our roll call.
Chair Banks,
Present.
Commissioner Wakula,
Present.
Commissioner Webb,
Present.
Commissioner Thompson,
I'm here.
and Commissioner, Quayla.
Is excused for the evening. Thank you. Has everyone had a moment to look at the agenda? Any discussion? I'd take a motion.
So move, adopt the agenda as presented, Madam Chair, with the, we deleted already from the work session that item, so this agenda is complete as it stands. I make that motion.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded,
Chair, with
all
the,
to adopt.
We deleted already from the work session that item, so this agenda.
Okay, that's okay. We're good. We're good. It has been moved and seconded to adopt the agenda. All those in favor signify with an aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Same sign. Okay, motion passes. Moving on to the proclamations. Older Americans Month Proclamation, page 67. We have Dean Dioner. Is that okay, excellent. Welcome. Come on up, please, from the Astoria Senior Center. Thank you for joining us this evening.
Thank you. Well, thank you for this invite to introduce myself and my organization. My name is Dean Donier. I'm 72-year-old senior citizen, very active. And my background is in sales of safety equipment and safety and environmental equipment. And later in my career, I did computer support and system administration. And so after being retired for 8 years, I started out as the director of the Astoria Senior Center in November of last year. Our center services more than 500 seniors enrolled as members from all over Clatsop County, including some in Pacific County. And we have a lot of different activities including, I brought a copy of our schedule. We include basic exercises, yoga, Tai Chi, games. We have an encore group sponsored through the Clatsop Community College that provides learning opportunities in genealogy, disaster prep, and many other subjects. On Saturdays, we provide movies for the seniors. We have a craft group, beginning line dance, just a lot of games and activities, a lot of opportunities for the seniors. We take groups out, on the 21st of this month, we took a group out to the Japanese gardens. And later, we're going to be doing another group to the Portland Zoo. So just lots of activities. We have 80 and 90-year-olds in the group, and aging isn't something to fear. It's something to respect, support, and reimagine. In 1965, only 5% of adults had a college degree. Now it's 1 in 3. Longevity is rising with over 400,000 Americans who may reach 100 years of age by 2050. Aging is not a myth, it's a mindset, and it's built on good health, strong family and social ties, and staying mentally and physically engaged. I'd like to recite the Astoria Senior Center mission statement. The mission of the Astoria Senior Center is to enrich the quality of life, support independence and vitality for seniors of Astoria and the surrounding area by providing opportunities for intellectual, social, and nutritional interaction in a community-oriented environment. And thank you for this opportunity. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much for joining us this evening, and I so appreciate what you're doing for our community seniors. I just think of my grandmother before she passed and how excited she was to participate in the trips and activities and, you know, happy hour cards and so on and so forth that she was able to participate in. So your work is invaluable. So
Thank you very much.
Any discussion?
I'm the oldest one. I think I should make the,
Yes, I would.
by a little, huh?
They might have to pull up.
Commissioner
I would hazard a motion.
Madam Chair, I make the motion that we approve the resolution and order proclaiming May 2025 as Older Americans Month and authorize the chair to read and sign the proclamation.
I second that emotion.
It has been moved and seconded to approve the resolution and order proclaiming May 2025 as Older Americans Month and authorize the chair to read and then sign the proclamation. The proclamation. The Board of County Commissioners for Clatsop County, Oregon, in the matter of proclaiming the month of May 2025 to be Older Americans Month. Whereas our nation's older adults are an invaluable and cherished part of our community, contributing immeasurably to our society through their wisdom, experience, and resilience. And whereas Older Americans Month is a time to recognize and celebrate the countless contributions of our seniors and to reaffirm our commitment to creating communities that honor and support their needs, aspirations, and well-being. And organizations like the Astoria Senior Center and the Northwest Senior and Disability Services recognize the need to create a community that provides the service and supports older adults. Whereas the Administration for Community Living acknowledges the importance of fostering environments that promote the health, dignity, and independence of older adults, ensuring they have access to vital services and supports that enable them to thrive and actively participate in all aspects of community life. And whereas the theme for Older Americans Month 2025, Flip the Script on Aging, focuses on transforming how society perceives, talks about, and approaches aging. It encourages individuals and communities to challenge stereotypes and dispel misconceptions. And whereas, as we honor our seniors this month, we reaffirm our commitment to advocating for policies and initiatives that enhance the quality of life for older Americans, including affordable and accessible health care, housing, transportation, and social services. Now, therefore, be it hereby resolved that the Clatsop County Board of Commissioners does hereby proclaim May 2025 as Older Americans Month. in Clatsop County and invites the community to celebrate the remarkable achievements and enduring legacy of our seniors. Let us rededicate ourselves to creating a society where every older adult can age with dignity, respect, and the opportunity to flourish. Now signed, Board of Commissioners for Clatsop County, Oregon.
Commissioner Banks,
Yes, ma'am.
did we take a vote?
Oh.
I know we had a first and
Yeah.
second.
Look at me, I was all excited to read it. All those in favor signify with an aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Thank you,
Who dares to oppose?
and thank you.
Yeah, can I,
Yes, go ahead.
I'm just gonna say Dean because I don't want to butcher your last name. And I come from a very difficult last name as well, so I can appreciate that. Not many people know this because I haven't shared it, but I lost my father recently, and unfortunately, he never got a chance to reach this point of his life. So I just want to say thank you for everything you do and your involvement. It means the world to me, so thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to Pride Month proclamation. Sorry, I got a little teary-eyed. I apologize. Pride Month proclamation on page 70, and our presenter is Adriana Guerrero. Excellent. Board Chair and Benedito de Francesco.
Benedetto Di Francisco.
Tonight is rough. Thank you guys so much for coming.
Thank you for having us. So my name is Adriana Guerrero. I'm the board chair for the Lower Columbia Q Center, and I have Benedetto with me, who is our executive director. And we are a nonprofit. We provide services for our queer community. Our mission is to provide outreach, education, financial resources for the Two-Spirit LGBTQA plus community and allies of the Lower Columbia region of Oregon and Washington. We have drop-in days, Tuesdays and Thursdays, and you can see all of this on our website as well, just in case you are interested. But we have a lot of groups throughout the week. Tonight's our Queer Recovery group. We have a Gender Alliance peer support group, young adult groups, youth groups, a book club. We have a lot going on almost every day of the week. Is it every day of the week?
Pretty much.
Maybe not Sundays. 101 workshops. And so we provide things for organizations, educators. We work with Clatsop Behavioral Health Care, the Astoria School District, the Columbia River Maritime Museum, Clatsop County Public Health Department, and Columbia Memorial Hospital. And it's really been a wild couple of years, but the partnerships in the community and the way that the community has worked with us lately has really been amazing and has filled our hearts right up. And just the ability to have so many groups every week and have so many people participating, we know that we're here for a reason and we have a really important mission. So thank you for inviting us here tonight. And you know, I did want to shout out because it's Pride Month and we have a lot of events coming up. We have a gala at the Liberty Theater, and they've been really great to work with. This is our second year doing that. And then we have a block party with the Fort George, which will be indoors and outdoor this year. We know that it was inaccessible for people that are, you know, taking extra precautions, so we're excited to have that outdoor availability. And then the Maritime event on Sunday, and then later we have a march on Sunday, the 29th. So all of that is available on our website, but I just wanted to say thank you for just kind of acknowledging Pride Month. It's really important that we have visibility, and it just feels really good to be included and feel supported and cared for by the community. So thank you for having us here, and I hope to see you at Pride events. So yeah, everyone's invited, so thank you.
Well, thank you guys so much for coming, and everyone deserves to be loved. So I appreciate everything that you've shared. Any discussion?
Can I do this one? Me too. Want to make a motion? Okay,
I move to approve resolution and order proclaiming June 2025 as Pride Month and authorize the chair to read and then sign the proclamation.
I'll second.
Okay, it has been moved and seconded to approve the resolution and order proclaiming June 2025 as Pride Month and authorize the chair to read and then sign the proclamation. All those in favor signify with an aye. Aye. I'm proud of myself. All those opposed, same sign. Okay, motion carries. Okay. The Board of County Commissioners for Clatsop County, Oregon, in the matter of proclaiming June 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2025 to be Pride Month. Whereas the month of June was designated Pride Month to commemorate the Stonewall riots, which occurred in June of 1969. And whereas Clatsop County is a diverse community committed to supporting visibility, dignity, and equity for all, and whereas many of Clatsop County's residents and visitors who contribute to the enrichment of our county are part of the LGBTQIA+ community, and whereas Clatsop County celebrates the diversity of our community and promotes a society in which all residents can live free from discrimination. And whereas Pride Month is an opportunity to celebrate this vision and the harmony in which we aspire to live. Now, therefore, be it hereby resolved that the Clatsop County Board of Commissioners does hereby proclaim June 2025 as Pride Month in Clatsop County and invites all community members to join us in reflecting on ways we all can live and work together with a commitment of mutual respect and understanding. Dated this 28th day of May 2025, Board of Clatsop County Commissioners, Clatsop County, Oregon. Thank you. Thank you very much for coming and sharing, you guys. All right. Moving on to business from the public. This is an opportunity for anyone to give a 2-minute presentation about any item on the agenda except public hearings or any topic of county concern that is not on the agenda. Clerk of the board, are there any members of the public signed up to speak remotely?
No, there are not.
Is there anybody signed up?
No, there's not.
Okay. So I think we can just move on from there into consent calendar. Has everybody had a moment to peruse the consent calendar? Any discussion? Okay, hearing none.
Madam Chair, I move adoption of the consent calendar as presented.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to adopt the consent calendar. All those in favor signify with an aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Okay, motion carries. Next is Commissioner reports, starting with Commissioner Thompson.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, it was the forestry tour. It was wonderful. It was out in your neck of the woods. I have forest facts for people that I brought back. It's an admirable concentration of community leadership out in the forest so that people can appreciate the economic reality and the cultural impact, just as we spoke of tonight when we talked about the Fair Board members, because those two elements of our community continue. Besides that, it smells. Really, I mean, being out in the forest, we had an expert photographer reporter come over from the Chinook Observer. I said, he asked excellent questions. He had more subject matter expertise than just about anybody else on that bus who didn't work for the Department of Forestry. He was awesome. So I hope that that runs in the story, and I told him I'd like to see, I'm not in charge of that, but I'd like to see that happen. Kyle Yuan, is that how I say it? Riley. That's Kyle. Riley, thank you. Riley Yuan. So that was important. I just came this afternoon from the housing group, which is like finally coming home. My life's ambition is achieved because I get to sit on this Clatsop County Regional Housing Group, which is practical and theoretical. It's granular and it's got a wide scope and vision. Our Clatsop County staff, Jay Blake's departure at the end of June will leave a huge hole, but
Blake is leaving?
Jay Blake is leaving, but in the meantime, he's doing excellent work, and Alyssa Gertler remains, so there's hope to be had. That group is moving forward. We had graphs and charts. I said, oh, can we publicize this? They said, Commissioner Thompson, you're the only person who thinks that it's a newsworthy item to publish a graph and a chart, but it's very interesting information, because what we're looking at is the reality on the ground here about the economy, the housing situation, how we pay for community services, and what individual cities and the county as a whole can do to raise up county economy and functioning. So just so you know that. As I was driving up to Astoria today, there were a couple of ODOT trucks coming down into my neighborhood. Now, if you know, I live in a pretty remote little neighborhood, so I stopped him and said, talk to me about what you're doing here. He said, I'm an ODOT engineer. We are investigating coastline erosion. He said, I've just looked at the Arch Cape Tunnel. I said, I'm really glad you're doing that, because the tunnel's in great shape. But if you've ever stood on the south end of the Arch Cape Tunnel and looked at the side that heads off the side of the cliff into the ocean, there's less and less of it as time goes on. See, you know that. It makes me nervous, because it's a fragile built infrastructure. They're going to do a report, he said. They looked in Cannon Beach, they looked in my neighborhood in Cove Beach, and farther down the coast, because ODOT knows that the sea levels are rising. They are trying to investigate and prepare for whatever they need to do to protect 101 all up and down the coast. So stay tuned for that. Next week, the Association of Oregon Counties is going to have a legislative retreat in Sisters. Now, if you follow the legislature, you know that there's still a month to go. So this is the sprint to the finish. And the commissioners and judges and chairs from all over Oregon are going to be gathering to figure out how to do the best to protect our communities, our capacity to govern well in our places, to protect our people. So that's next week. That's my report. Thank you. Commissioner Webb.
Yes. We talked about this a little bit in the work session, mobilizing public support to encourage our legislators to please fight the fact that the president's fabulous budget has advocated large cuts to Job Corps, which in the United States is the most money that we spend on workforce development outside of our colleges, universities, and community colleges. So it's huge, and I hope it gets lots of attention from our local press. Speaking of the rising sea levels, today I spent the early afternoon at CREST, which is our Council of Governments, actually. CREST is an interesting organization. It's the Columbia River Estuary Study Task Force. The county contributes money to it. It's a board that I represent us on, and I'm very pleased with the fact that it's a beautifully managed entity which has been supported primarily by the Bonneville Power Administration. And they're doing an awful lot. They continue to do an awful lot of very exciting, basically estuary savings. Does anybody here know what an estuary is? You know, does everybody here know what the definition of an estuary is?
I don't know the definition, but I know where they are.
Okay, good
Go ahead.
job.
Educate me.
I educate you. An estuary is where the tidal force meets the river force. And in Clatsop County, because we are abundant in water flowing, fresh water flowing into the ocean and the ocean coming to us. We're trying very, very hard to make sure that we strengthen the environmental integrity of our estuaries so that we maintain our fresh water, which in Clatsop County, that's all of our water is fresh, whether you have your own well, or whether you have a municipal system or a community system, it all is groundwater. It all comes from our rivers and streams. One of the things that Crest was able to do this year with a federal grant is to buy a very sophisticated drone, which is mapping the shoreline, the entire shoreline, and up the river into our estuaries. And we had to approve extra money in the budget because we have to buy space on a satellite, because this drone is actually linked to satellite technology that does mapping. And one of the things I'd like to actually to do is take my colleagues on a few field trips. We're doing some very exciting work with the Park Service around the Lewis and Clark Park. And it's really exciting work. It really is. And I'd like to maybe put everybody in a van and then a boat and show you this has been years long. And I really do think that we need to go out and look at some of this good stuff that's going on, because it's pretty exciting. At the Bonneville Power Administration, we went through the last month of being really, really nervous because of federal cuts to BPA. But it looks like those, both the governors of the states around BPA have worked very, very hard, as have our Congress people. And it looks like a lot of that is going to be restored. So we're pretty excited to go off for another year. In a few weeks, you all are going to receive a visit from the Northwest Oregon Works, our workforce, our 5-county workforce board. And because we were able this year to hire a maritime person who is the perfect maritime person because he's an ex-Coast Guard person. Yay. And he also taught at Tongue Point. And he's going to give you a presentation on the work that NOW is doing now for maritime enforcement. We've already gotten a grant for Astoria, for the port, that's helping them do some training in our growing industry of boat repair and maintenance in Clatsop County. So I think that's all. I think that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Wakua.
Yeah, thank you. So I'm not sure if it was reported on last month, but I did accept the liaison assignment to the Public Safety Coordinating Committee as well. So that's in addition to the CEDAR, in addition to the Property Appeals Board. We had our CEDAR meeting yesterday, and it was great. I really like the CEDAR meeting. It's kind of a roundtable of just a lot of people from the community. You get to see a little bit of everything, and everybody's got a different opinion or approach, and a different part of life, which is the things we talked about at CEDAR yesterday. Big news from CEDAR was they had their awards banquet last week on Thursday, and that was a hit, sold out. There were 17 award winners, and like I said, sold out audience, which I don't think is atypical for them. It's pretty norm, and so really proud of that event. Unfortunately, I couldn't make it. I wasn't here, but I look forward to it next year. They went over their budget. Everybody's in budget season right now. And so we just got done with the school board budget. That's something I do personally. And then we did our budget, and then Cedar did their budget. And basically, everything's relatively on par with Cedar. There was a $3,000 hit that they took from Gearhart this year. Gearhart last year had a grant, a series of grants, something, I don't know, in the tune of $30,000 some odd dollars. And $3,000 of that went to Cedar, who, unfortunately, they weren't able to renew that this year. And it kind of led into a discussion that Gearhart is very, let's just say they're in a tough situation right now with their financials. And they were not able to put that grant money up again. And so Cedar is looking for additional funding, and any ideas for them, they would appreciate. There was discussion about the tariffs and how they're impacting everybody across the community. Fort George talked about how, you know, they were anticipating tariffs on the barley, and that didn't happen, but there is tariffs on metal, and that's been impacting them with their cans, but also even CMH with what's going on with the build. And they talked about the progress that they're doing with the building that you see going up over there. Kind of interesting, there were some companies that implemented tariffs on rebar, even though they weren't appropriate, and so CMH had to kind of catch them up on that and say that wasn't appropriate. We heard from Northwest Natural and from Pacific Power. Just want to remind people, with Northwest Natural, there are discounts available if you have income limitations, and you can demonstrate that through their website, and it can qualify for 15 to 85% discount on your gas. And a really cool thing I didn't know about with Northwest Natural, so, I'm sorry, not Northwest, with Pacific Power, is that they're expecting power outages this summer. They were transparent about it. They said if you have a medical device that requires power, you can go on their website right now and apply for a grant of up to $4,000 for a generator. And that, whether it's a refrigerator for insulin, or you have a sleeping device that you need to power throughout the night. I thought that was amazing. I'm like a huge advocate for free money and for people with medical devices that need stuff. So if you know anybody that's has been thinking about a generator, I encourage them to go onto their website and apply for the medical certificate for that. Other than that, I think that was about it for that, and that's all I got.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, looking into the next wildfire season, I would probably guarantee that they will be shutting power off to communities that are impacted by fire or extreme wind during summer wildfire months. So.
And as you would know, Lindsay Davis was there, and she did mention that she anticipates us going into fire season pretty quickly before the next meeting. And so I know it started across the state, but for us in Clatsop County, we get a little bit of a delayed entry into it, but we're still going to feel it pretty soon. So.
Yep. No, the irony of that is wildfire season started the Sunday, I think, the day we drove home from camping. And it started in the area that we drove home from camping from. So it was lightning. I can't say that it was lightning, it's unconfirmed, but as we were driving out of town, there was lightning. So I can only assume that was the culprit of wildfire season beginning for the state. And to note, Commissioner Thompson, I'm so grateful one of us was able to attend the forestry tour. That is an amazing tour. I love going on that tour, and I'm so grateful that they brought the future of our community on that tour. They offered spaces to Astoria FFA, and so I heard wonderful reviews from the kids at Astoria regarding that tour, and they were just very excited to be able to participate. So it's wonderful. I think the one thing that I have to share is I had our FTLAC meeting here this last week, and over the last few months, FTLAC and ODF and the Board of Forestry has requested modeling of different scenarios. We were presented with our new reduced board feet per year, a little over a year ago. It was reduced from the 225 million board feet to somewhere in the range of 165 to 183. And within that discussion and within that new modeling, the Forest Trust Land Counties and the Board of Forestry requested from ODS different modeling scenarios that could potentially improve outcomes for our community or provide a runway for our community to pivot in economics. And so the Council of Forest Trust Lands requested modeling scenarios at 205 million board feet, at 195 million board feet. We also requested what used to be called a departure, where we harvest up front and then watch a decline over decades. And then we just requested kind of a status quo. And then there was a long rotation request from the Board of Forestry. And they presented those models to us here recently. It was a 77-page document we all have access to. I'm pretty sure Brandon Persinger emailed it to each of us. And if not, you can request, or I can request for him to email that 77-page document. I'm not sure where the Council of Forest Trust Lands or FTLAC will go from here. There is one model, which is the departure model, Model 3, which shows a heavier harvest up front, which would provide us a potential runway for our county to pivot financially, but it does bottom us out pretty low in Clatsop County. I've yet to see Clatsop County's actual models. And so I'm curious. I'm attending a Board of Forestry meeting, joint Board of Forestry meeting next week to discuss our cares and concerns regarding the modeling scenarios. It could be good news for the next 2 decades if everything came to fruition with that particular model. But again, I don't really want to put the cart before the horse until we have more information. And so it just depends on as more information comes in, we will probably potentially discuss it further. I need to talk to our chair and to county manager. I would like everybody's opinion before I cast a vote for Clatsop County. Just because there's a lot for us to weigh, because as we all know, Clatsop County is impacted the most. And so I just feel like having everybody at the table to have the discussion and to review the different models would be best. And so hopefully we can have a meeting or a work session pretty soon in that regard when everyone is back from Salem. But beyond that, I try not to get too excited because.
May I interrupt you?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, I think that's an excellent idea, because one of the things that people have said to me is that Clatsop County has kind of gone back and forth in what's the position of its representative to the Council of Forest Trust Lands, because there's a wide variation of opinion everywhere all over Clatsop County about this. So I think it's brilliant to say, let's all look at the data, let's talk about it together, and then let's come to agreement on that. So I really support that. And if Brandon sent me that 77 pages, I missed it. So if you can send it out again. So that's one. Number 2, I'm curious about who will be the next state forester, because the governor had a bill because she wanted to be the one to appoint that person, not have the Board of Forestry appoint them. And so that seems like a very complicated dynamic. I wonder if you have any insights or information for us.
The insight being the governor's office, after speaking with Jeff Huntington, the governor's office attempt to do that was because when you apply to be the state forester, it is a public process. It eliminates certain applicants who are not ready to be part of a public process, because the Board of Forestry is a public body, a convening board. And so the governor, according to Jeff Huntington, that effort was in order to have more applicants, without allowing it to be, you know, such a public, experience, I guess. The governor's office via, Mr. Huntington was sharing that it can be a limiting factor in regards to applications. And so they were hopeful to get more applications with that process. There was a lot of concerns from the Forest Trust Land counties just in that regard, further politicizing. The discussions were surrounding the potential of further politicizing that position. There was also concern of the removal of having that actual appointee or that position have to have knowledge of forestry. And that really didn't sit well with many of us who feel like the person who's leading the state forest needs to have knowledge in forestry. But, right, and so we had some robust discussions surrounding that. Burbling on the street is potentially Kate Skinner running for the position. There's a lot of, you know, burble and babble on the street, but we will await, I think, just like everyone else is awaiting on finding out who is going to be the next state forester. So I just hopeful that they continue to have knowledge in forestry. That's just a personal hope for me.
That makes sense, if I may, if you'll indulge me. The role of the Council of Forest Trust Lands, sometimes the Board of Forestry seems to have moved in a very different direction than what it used to be within recent memory, where the trust land counties, because forestry is such an important part of our culture and our economy, we weren't seen as a special interest, we were seen as a partner. Now it seems to be, well, you're just one of those special interests, and we put you in a, I would say, a less powerful, less involved relationship with the department and the Board of Forestry. So I appreciate whatever you're doing to help us maintain our stature and our impact.
Yeah, thank you. I've had a robust conversation with Chair Kelly recently, and I think communication is something that I continue to push for. Better communication between the Board of Forestry, the Council of Forest Trust Lands, and the Governor's Office as we try to move forward without a legislative fix in regards to our gigantic environmental commitment that Clatsop County made in order for us to achieve an HCP in the state. And so I will continue to ask for a legislative fix or help, assistance, because Clatsop County shouldered the burden. And I know the other counties also shouldered a burden, but it has been noted many times throughout this process in the last 4.5 years of what a burden to the tune of millions of dollars that Clatsop County is losing for an environmental commitment. And so we will remain ever hopeful that the state will help us pivot in our future. And so as we look at the modeling scenarios, I look at them with eyes of what is going to help us economically pivot as a county. Because sustaining at what used to be is not possible. So, thank you. Moving on to the county manager's report.
Thank you, Chair.
Assistant County manager's report.
Just 2 items. I believe Teresa has heard from 2 commissioners, but is just waiting for a majority in regard to the email she sent out today. Right now, there's a mad rush to get some letters of support for the SPIRE grant. Justin has requests from Cannon Beach, RFPD, Clatsop County Emergency Management, City of Astoria, the Sheriff's Office, City of Warrenton, and City of Gerhart for various items that they would like our support for grant funding on. And then also we will be bringing the budget before your board for adoption on June 11th. So that is all. And she needs those responses hopefully before the end of the night, so.
A lot of good equipment on that.
Yeah.
Yes, there was. Well, we don't have anything else for this evening. Short night. Any business for the good of the order? No? No? Meeting adjourned.
Oh, right.